Hey guys, what's up? As a holistic health practitioner, part of my job I feel, or part of my role in this world, is to help people become as happy, healthy, strong and free as they possibly can. And sometimes this means moving outside of the realms of, human movement, nutrition, medicine, things like that, and going into how we interact with each other and interact in our world and how we perceive it. So today I'm going to cover the law as it stands in our society, and while I'm not going to be giving people specific steps on how to get out of the system, so to speak, all those steps are there in place. If you want some references, I'm happy to start putting some references in. That's more for you guys to undertake a journey on your own, but I just want to open some doors for you and perhaps, as usual, give you something to question as we go on. So today I'm just going to use a quick example as a friend. I usually don't like to use clients as an example unless it's something really specific and I've got their permission. Friends are happy for me to do this because I don't say anything that I wouldn't say to their face anyway. So starting off, I have a friend who, in conversation, we'll bring up, me and my friend, another friend, we're bringing up just, bits and pieces of how the world isn't what you think it is, laws aren't even real, we don't need laws, blah, blah, blah. And then they get, defensive. A lot of people get defensive about these sorts of things when they first hear them because they've lived their whole life, one way so far. They've got maybe family that are in the law, fraternity, lawyers and things, and they're meant to be well respected and all this sort of stuff. And so it can go along that way. So what happens is this particular person said that was a really negative view of the world, and I thought that was an interesting way to respond to some of the information that me and this other friend were giving them. So what I want to do is give you a few ideas that you guys can, look at on your own and start to make some of your own decisions. The way I would present things is that the matrix, and the matrix in this case being the lawmakers and the ones that are above that get to fine us, tax us, make laws, put us in jail, all those sorts of things, they, in a crafty way, make you think that we need more laws, and to the point where you'll actually demand more laws. I remember seeing something a while ago where, as usual, I'm going to bring this up, the media basically creates what we think the world is. Most of it's just junk. If you're watching the news, just stop watching the news. I guarantee your life will be better. And not only that, but a lot of, for example, this is going to get off topic already, but the global financial crisis, when you start watching my money videos, you'll realize that that's an impossibility. What happens is that the media creates something and then people start buying into it and they create it from that. There's still no global financial crisis except for how people have started to respond. And that's created by the media in the first place. So what can happen is that most people are against the whole Big Brother idea, right? Like cameras everywhere and this, that and the other. But it's very easy for the media to create a certain world or hysteria for you. And then what they do is they make the people demand that they start to put cameras in certain places. So what they do is they want to put these things in, right? But then rather than just say, we're going to do it, and people go, no, we don't want that, they'll create a situation where the people demand it, so now it was their idea. It's very smart. But that's basically what happens. Now, the law, I'm going to have to go into this deeper another time, but it's basically a corrupt system. If you look at it from the top to the bottom and how it's administered, how it's enforced, it's a very corrupt system. Now, part of that is that there are no laws. When Australia and the US were colonised, there were no treaty agreements, and unless there's a treaty agreement or alliance, no laws that are spoken and then written and then put into place as bills and then agreed upon and voted upon, blah, 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 none of that actually went down. So what we have, that's one, and number two is that Australia and America are actually a bankrupt economy, and no laws can exist in a bankrupt economy, only statutes. So this is why I don't pay fines. This is why if a cop wants to fine me for not wearing a helmet down by the beach, tell them to get bent. If they want to fine you for, okay, just let me qualify a couple of things here on the law. If I am doing 100 k's an hour in some 80s zone or something, not that I even have a driver's license, which you don't actually need, by the way, but if I'm doing that, I'm not going to pay a fine, right? But if I go practicing my street drifting through a school zone at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, feel free to lock me up. We don't need laws. There's a sensibility to a lot of things, and just if you get where I'm going with that. So laws versus statutes in a bankrupt economy. We've covered treaty agreements. What you want to look up in your own research is the UCC, which is a Uniform Commercial Code. Just look that up, find out what it is, and then that'll start opening your eyes as to what, laws are and aren't, and what's enforceable and what's not. Now, people think that laws stop crime. That's a very thin veil. I've worked in private security, I've been around police a lot, been around military personnel and situations and things, and look, the thing is, if you knew, especially like on the Gold Coast here, for example, people have no idea how many homeless people are here. People have no idea how many murders there are here. But it's all swept under the rug because, we rely on tourism and it's meant to be this golden place and whatever. It's a beautiful place to live, don't get me wrong, but, the actual society here isn't what it's made out to be. And that's starting to show through more and more these days because it's very hard to keep that alive for an extended period of time. But, people think that we need laws, we need tough laws, we need more police, we need the police to have helicopters and this, that and the other. We need to give them more power. And again, like I said at the start of the video, the people, they're making the people want that to happen, which is, as I say, very crafty, very smart on their part, very well done on their part. But, there's so many murders, crimes and things that go on. And it's created more by the system, and I'll get to that at the end. But it's a very thin veil. Just take my word for that. Don't take my word for that. Do some proper research. Don't just look at newspapers and magazines and whatever that are false media. Just start doing some of your own research. Ask around, and you'll see what I'm talking about there. So laws in the system create more violence and criminal behaviour because of the fact that it's probably too deep to go into on this video, but there are so many levels in which the system and media and things mess with people's heads, and then they get put on drugs, and then they become schizophrenics, and then they become this, that, and the other, and then there's all this alcohol, and then, marketing makes alcohol look good and drugs look good, and it's just this massive concoction of things that if you took a society of people, even the ones that we consider are criminals in our society, and we just all relaxed for a bit, and there's no marketing, and there's none of this forced agenda and things, I think you would find that they would be a lot better behaved, for one. So it's just, a lot of the criminality and the violence and things is created. And what's worse than that is that the system wants that. They might talk about, we're going to reduce crime and we're going to do this, that and the other, but a system, as I've mentioned in other videos, it thrives on people being sick and dumb, for one, as I talk about in nutrition, but scared and fearful and expecting to get mugged and expecting this and creating more of that to happen, because the more of that happens, the more drama and fear feeds this machine, and the more, whether you're aware of it or not, the more they're tapping your energy, your money, your resources and getting you to work for them. So it's evil, but it's very smart, I've got to give them that. And then this is why I make videos on how to remove yourself more from the matrix, because when you're like in my position, you can just observe it and it's not good, but because you're not sucked into it, it's not really that big of a deal, because you just live your own life, do your own thing, and it doesn't touch you, which is good. So yeah, they want that because it gives them more power and control. The state of humanity as it stands has been created, as I said, by media. Media they're in the same bed as politicians, lawmakers and things like that. It's all run by money. It's not run by the good of humanity and justice and all this sort of thing. It's all run by money. There are very few innately bad people in this. As I've worked in private security, I've done a lot of things, and in my observations around the world, and if you talk to other people that I guess have got a lot of experience or just understand things from a humanity perspective, there are very few innately bad people, and most of it, as I've already said, it's created, and anyone that was innately bad or going to go that way can be easily pushed that way, and there's much more to push them that way than there is to pull them out of it and become properly functioning members of society. And the other part of that is that if somebody is innately bad, and they do exist, I have come across people that are just, there's people that walk around thinking they're tough, there's bikies and there's all this sort of stuff. You come across a few people every now and then that you just know you don't mess with them. Like, there's the people that you think, you don't mess with them, but I've been around them enough to know that, they're not a threat. But there are genuinely people in this world that are just scary. And it's only scary if you piss them off. And it's just, you know where you stand with them, and you know not to even go near them, is the point. Going back to the start, when my friend was saying that it's a negative view of the world, what I would say is that it's a very positive way to look at things because it allows you to look at things objectively and just understand what's real and what's not, and then find your place and live an actual real life as opposed to living what you're told to live. Conversely, as well, if you want to go a little deeper, I would say that that person's view of the world was negative because what they're actually saying, without saying it, is that they believe that without laws and everything else, which I've said doesn't actually change anything anyway, it actually creates more crime than it stops. But they believe so strongly that we need laws to be safe and to stop criminals. And that is saying on a deeper level that they have no faith in basic humanity. Like, God didn't make us to, or, you know, look at my God that failed video if you don't like me saying that, but we weren't put on this earth to need laws. We're the only species that needs to go by, you know, laws and commandments and all this sort of things. Well, at least religion and media would have you believe that. We're the only people that need to refer to ethics and things like that in order to think we understand how to live. Well, we just don't. If we're put on this planet, we're here to, you know, we understand innately how to live, how to treat each other. And what it should all come down to at the end of the day is cause no harm or loss. That's the only law. That's a natural law. That comes down to karma and things like that. Cause no harm or loss. Cause no harm or loss to the earth. Cause no harm or loss to anyone or anything around you. And beyond that, we don't need any laws. Now, one last thing. If we had no laws, what would you do? This is gonna answer these questions for you in a very easy way. Ask yourself this: if there were no laws, what would you do? Is the first thing you would do to go rape and pillage, to go and burn down the neighbourhood, kick a few dogs, punch a few kids, and that kind of thing? Because I wouldn't. The first thing I'd do is probably just hug my friends, maybe go for a surf, then go for a nap under a tree. So just ask yourself that question: if there's no laws, what do you now do? And then that will put into contrast or context, I think. Perhaps if you're one of those people that believe in laws, might put that into context for you. Now, in future videos, I will be covering lawyers, we'll be covering the law itself, and just a few bits and pieces that may help you to piece together what you're doing in this world and how a lot of this system can actually be stopping you from doing what you're meant to do in this world. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. See you on the next vid.